Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. From Larian, the folks who brought us Divinity Original Sin, and some other games, but I haven't played those, so we'll just stick with the Original Sin thing. That said, this is not the first time we're dipping our toes into Baldur's Gate 3. I did run an early access series not too long ago. A couple of years, I suppose, but still. So it's high time we once again return to the fog-shrouded shores of Faerun, to once again weather the epic clash of swords and sorcery, to let the occasional illithid perhaps pick our brain. Let's get this shindig started, shall we? And of course, right off the bat, we're going to go full tactician mode. I feel like, despite the changes Larian has wrought upon the 5th edition system, I'm a fairly decent hand at it between Solasta and the early access build. Of course, I may end up very much regretting that decision, but I'll get back to you, say, 10 episodes from now. We'll see how we're doing. And now, we have to make our most pivotal decision. What kind of character are we going to play? And as per the Raiders' request, I have a pretty good idea of what we're going for. Bear with me for a moment. And we're back. Let's have a hearty hero's welcome for our Saurian Sorcelok, Auric Alchem. A character who I will freely admit I spent far too much time fine-tuning. That said, let's run through the basics here. I'll give you a general rundown on my thought processes. Now, first up, I should note that all of the main decisions for this character, the skeleton, so to speak, all of that stuff was decided by the Raiders. I ran a series of polls over on Patreon and in the YouTube community section. So they're the ones who decided. Dragonborn Warlock of the Great Old One. Where I took over was with the character specifics. For example, I'm the one who decided that we would be a Bronze Dragonborn. And that is largely a decision that was driven by the fact that the Raiders wanted us to be a neutral or chaotic good character. And given that we're also a charisma-heavy caster, that really did imply sociable. That immediately leaned us towards Bronze or Copper for a good, sociable Dragonborn. So ultimately, the clincher ended up being the element of our dragon breath. And at the end of the day, it's just a lot easier to pair lightning with water than it is to pair acid with, more acid. I don't know. Regardless, Warlock, as aforementioned, decided on by the Raiders, but I'm just fine with that. I got a fair bit of experience with the class when we were running Eleuthen back during the early access series. For spells, we're obviously not going back to the blade, so Eldritch Blast is a no-brainer. That is our core offensive spell. We'll be blasting pretty much everything we encounter, with a little poison spray on the side for those moments when we inadvertently get ourselves cornered. That's a short-range AoE spell, so it's automatic damage as long as the opponent isn't completely immune to poison. We had to sacrifice Blade Ward for that, but I'm honestly fine with that. With a 2-round duration, I never really saw myself using it anyway. I will say, though, I almost did go True Strike. But ultimately I decided it's just not as compelling as it was in earlier editions. Rolling twice and taking the higher result, as opposed to just automatically getting a 20. For our slightly heavier fare, obviously we're a follower of the Great Old One, again decided by the Raiders, and something I was already somewhat familiar with, since that's what Eleuthen was as well. The subclass feature for the Great Old One is actually halfway decent. Whenever we crit, the target has to immediately pass a Wisdom save or become frightened, which in this game means they become immobilized and grant advantage, as opposed to earlier editions where they would flee and force you to chase them all over the map. So, in some ways, not quite as potent as it was in earlier editions, but also much more convenient. You know, it makes it easier to hit them, it makes it easier to plan around them, but it doesn't completely cost them their turn, like it would in a lot of other similar cRPGs. For our first level spells, I am not a fan of single target save or suck spells, so that meant right off the bat, Tasha's Hideous Laughter and Charm are out. We will, however, keep Dissonant Whispers because that one still inflicts half damage even if they do successfully save. And if they don't, Frighten for 2 rounds. Again, pretty handy debuff. That said, with Tasha's out, it did leave us with an open slot. And while there's a couple of different spells I wouldn't mind having, Armor of Agathis, Fiery Rebuke, Witchfire for the lightning theme, I ultimately settled on Hex as our first choice, which, as you can see here, is just a fantastic damage boost. Not to mention it also comes with a reduced savings throw chaser. In this particular case, we could 1-2 people hitting them with Hex, causing extra damage and reducing their wisdom, making it easier to target them with the fear effect. Not to mention, of course, whatever our other characters get up to as well, since we're sure to have at least a few other wisdom targeting abilities. The main limitation we have to keep in mind here is that as good as it is a concentration spell, which both restricts what other concentration spells we can have running at the same time, but it also means we have to be very careful when we do have it running, because even a single point of damage could cause us to lose concentration, in which case we either have to recast or just do without. And given that we only get 2 casts for short rest, that probably means doing without. At least until after a short rest. With backgrounds, going into it, I knew we had to have Persuasion, so that immediately pigeonholed our choices to either Guild Artisan or Noble, the only 2 backgrounds that come with Persuasion, since Persuasion isn't normally a Warlock skill. That means we would either get Insight or History, and as a social character, I felt like Insight was just more valuable. History's also nice, but not necessarily for a copper-tongued Casanova like Auric here. That aside, your background is also what determines how your character gets inspiration points, which are very important. Given the character that we're kind of envisioning here, it makes more sense for him to become inspired by finding or restoring ancient treasures, as opposed to just gaining riches or improving his perceived station. So, with all that in mind, that is, of course, what heavily influences our final ability point placement and skill selection. As you can see, given that we are playing a character who is ultimately very social, very inquisitive, curious, perhaps a bit on the naive side, we went heavy into Charisma. We maxed it out, in fact, that's the highest you can take it for a starting character. And then we also loaded up on Intelligence to really play up the inquisitive angle, with Wisdom slightly behind that to represent the character's current naivete. Though eventually, as he becomes more hardened and experienced from adventuring, we will bump his Wisdom up to 14, likely at 8, maybe 12. I'm undecided on that just yet. I will admit, this does leave us a bit frailer than I'd like. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the sake of role-playing and really kind of focusing more on the character interactions, the narrative, the exploration aspects of the game. That's somewhat reflected in our skills as well, because initially I was just going to grab all of the social skills. But after really kind of giving it some thought, I decided that, for one thing, intimidation didn't really fit the good-natured social character I was envisioning. I was on the fence with deception, but after perusing our options for later levels, I saw that there is a feat called Actor, which we can pick up at 4, which grants proficiency and immediate expertise with deception and performance, the skills that you use to mislead and trick other characters. So I thought that might actually be a good compromise. We'll go in with a character who is more naive and well-meaning, but over time, he'll realize the importance of at least occasionally telling characters white lies to prevent people from getting hurt or for the greater good. Not to mention, of course, that feat also would net us a +1 charisma, rounding us out to a nice 18. I think that's something that hits a nice blend of both practicality and staying within the boundaries of the character concept that I've sort of outlined here. And then while I'm admittedly much more on the fence about it, I'm considering taking Observant as our third feat, either at 8 or 12, whichever level we don't max out our charisma, because that one would not only round out our wisdom to 14, which is handy, of course, but it would also give us a passive +5 on perception and investigation checks, making it much easier for us to track down mid and late game secrets. That said, it'll also depend to a certain degree on how we're doing combat-wise, because if we're really struggling by that point, we might want to look at something like Spell Sniper or just medium armor proficiency. Either could really benefit our character. Rocking medium armor and a shield while Eldritch Blasting would definitely boost our character's survivability. Though if we do end up going that route, I'll have to drop 100 gold into respecking our character, just so I can move that one floating point of wisdom over to dexterity. That way we'd have a 14 dex instead of a 14 whiz. As for name, I already dropped it once. But, as you know, I am a fan of wordplay, both good and terrible. And to be perfectly blunt, this is probably a bit of both. For we are Auric Alchem. I mean, we're a bronze dragon. A nod to the ancient Auric Alchem seemed appropriate. And then Alchem, also kind of a nod to alchemy, but I'll be honest, that's mostly just because every other way I tried to spell it kind of felt inappropriate. We're a sorcelock, not a bard. So, you know, best to avoid that kind of sauce.
You need a guardian. Choose one.
Oh, right. And we also have to do this. The girl of our dreams. Un momento, por favor. And there you have it. She's beautiful. Within the strictly defined aesthetic sensibilities of a 7-foot-tall metal lizard who has pledged himself to an ancient old one. I would have actually gone Gith. I just, what can I say? I'm a nose guy. That said, we're all set. Let us venture forth. And we're in. Ooh, and that is quite a scene to wake up to. A sight for sore eyes? Oh, also, just real quick, just to put this on the record, I do not like this UI. I thought it was bad back in the early access. I think it's even worse in the launch build. They somehow made everything even smaller and more cramped and more cluttered than it was when the game was in alpha. I absolutely do hate the fact that when I hit the highlight button, only like 1/10 of the interactive objects on screen actually highlight. I don't know what they were thinking when they put this thing together, but I have gotten used to it. I can work around it. Now, with that out of my system, let's see what we're working with here. Scaled briefs. Larian really needs to get out more. That does remind me, I do need to double check certain setting toggles before we get too deep into this thing. Anyway.
I'd still be stuck inside if we hadn't been attacked.
Yeah, see, like, none of these highlight when I hold down the button.
Someone else got out. Might be other survivors. Not everyone made it out alive.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
Aha! Well, this seems like something we should investigate. Odds are in our favor. Fingers crossed. Hey! Off to a good start here.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
Okay, but is that good or bad? Are the contents dangerous? Should I not cause it to crumble? I have no context here. Well, see, now I have context. A simple "do not touch the exploding pool" would have sufficed. Thank you. Ah, Peridot. Yeah, I'll take that.
Dead. Good.
Easy now, Auric. Putting out some real Princess Zelda and Wand of Gamelon vibes there. I'll take that bronze goblet. It was made for me. Taking your chest, too. Ah, right, and I can't teleport it to my campsite yet. That's fair, given the, circumstances. Anything else? Any more secret hidden treasures I should be made aware of? How about over here?
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have. Where the hells are we?
That is an excellent question, Auric, but, one thing at a time.
Lucky I made it out.
Aha! A shiny piece of onyx.
Always room for more?
Visions project into your mind. A nautiloid hurtling through the plains, resplendent with psionic energy.
Well, see, that sounds like the sort of thing that might help us figure out where we are. Ah, and another chest. But I don't like the look of that. Let us, minimize our exposure by boldly leaping through. Nice. I don't know if that actually helped, but I like to imagine it did. Divine Bulb. Fancy. Alright, well, I don't want to go back through that plume, so we will take a shortcut. Ah, my knees. Perhaps not the best decision, but we've got a restoration pod. It's cool.
Lord, I feel better.
No harm done. That can't be undone. Sphincter. Uh-huh. Well, I am feeling adventurous, so through the sphincter we go.
We are here. Here.
Hi, Mirnath. The man with two voices. I will be with you momentarily.
We are trapped.
Viscous chair. Nah, too viscous.
Images of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind.
Well, that sounds useful too. Hey, buddy. Good luck with the whole being dead thing. I'm rooting for you.
A schematic of a nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews, as much living being as ship.
Neat. I have no idea if these actually do anything. But we can stash all this stuff at our camp, so no harm in taking them. These two don't trigger any voice lines.
We are trapped.
Eldritch Tablet.
1,000 years of humanoid history, elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
Well, that sounds super useful. And I like that they actually put it right next to a bunch of, obviously, Faerunian books, like conventional written media, because it implies the Illithid are, like, transcribing it. I really appreciate those sorts of small visual storytelling details in the environment. And it is one of the reasons I put up with this game's, UI shortcomings. Such as, for example, not highlighting these elevator controls when I hold down the highlight button.
Here.
Boy.
We are trapped.
Curious.
Yes, I'll be right with you, Mirnath. Calm down. I'm busy touching all the things.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
I'm sorry. Exactly who am I talking to right now?
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
You sound scared.
The enemy. So many enemies.
I'm not sure I like where this is headed, but I'll do what I can to help. What can I do?
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
All right, sure, yeah. I hate all of these options, but I will investigate further. Odds are in our favor. Hey, nice.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
Oof, medicine. I would have actually loved to take that skill. Sadly not an option for warlocks, and persuasion took precedence. Still, with advantage, that's our best chance. Alright, buddy. Let's see what we can do here. Here goes nothing. Oof. Well, it was bound to happen eventually. There's our first failed skill roll. Oh no, please. Please stop. I don't... Why?
The swelling is too great. You cannot lift the brain out of the skull.
Darn. I guess I have no choice but to walk away and never look at this thing again. How will I live with myself? That said, it is kind of a shame we failed that check. That would have... I have played this, obviously, before. I mean, I did the EA series. You know I played this part before. So that would have been nice in that it would have given us another warm body to help in combat, but still hard to look at. That, however, is pretty awesome. Come back. I am your child.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh, my head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Drakiith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
Cool, cool. Loving the positive energy. Glad we decided no on the stabbing. Who are you?
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
But you were about to stab me 5 seconds ago, right? I'm not misconstruing that part?
We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers.
Well, I certainly don't like the sound of that. Is there a way we can not do that?
We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. We will address the matter of a cure for this infection once we reach the material plane.
You know, I could have just killed them from over there, but your way's good too. This is fine.
On the move.
Nice. Too far for pommel strike, no need for second wind.
Where do I go from here?
Blast and run. I guess we could get a hex going. Might as well get that up and running now. We can just shift it around as needed later. Oh wait, no. Let's go wisdom. That's a more natural pairing with our fear powers. There it is. Hey, okay. Turns out that was a good move, because otherwise we would not have dropped it. Nat 1.
You bow, or you break.
You proved surprisingly adequate in battle. Now, to the helm.
Thanks, you're surprisingly adequate yourself. Void bulb. Possibly pull in nearby objects and creatures. Interesting. Scimitar, useless to us, but we'll take it.
Can't slow down.
You can never start loot hoarding too early. Yeah, I mean, once we make landfall, we can just stash most of this stuff in our camp. And then I'll do vendor runs between episodes, you know, keep it manageable, make sure we're always stocked up on gold. This game does have a lot of busy work, but fortunately it's mostly stuff that I can do off screen. Light crossbow, that might actually come in handy. Any raised platforms or hidden treasures to pursue? Not that I'm seeing. Actually, what's this?
Brains.
Apparently nothing. You comfy there, Auric? Getting in a good power nap? That was interesting. I gotta say, I'm not sure if I like or hate that Sims crystal floating over my head. I think that's from, is that from the cradle or is that from something else? I don't remember that normally being a thing. Alright, I guess we're done here. Room seems pretty clear.
Ship won't be able to take another dragon attack. We need to get out before it's too late.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Ooh, robes. Those will actually come in handy later. One of our big problems with Auric here. Of course, these climbing surfaces don't highlight. Why would they? One of our big problems with Auric is going to be that with +1 dex, he's only going to have an AC of 12 with most light armors. Oh, that's... okay, that's what that is. That's the reapply hex condition. Gotcha. Thanks, I hate it. Once more under the sphincter. But,
Back! Touch nothing without knowing its purpose.
Yeah, good call, Lae'zel. Oh, but to complete my thought from earlier real quick, eventually we'll go mage armor, and the robes will help with not being naked.
The man isn't dead, but he's totally unresponsive.
He's probably fine.
You! Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers.
Yeah, just one sec, Lae'zel. Just dealing with some internal straggling. Alright, come on now. Wait, no, we made it.
runes. You feel them drawing energy from the console near to the pod.
Are you satisfied? We need to go.
Yeah, I'm not stopping you.
The construction is too alien. Nothing looks familiar.
This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a stranger?
Well, you're a stranger too, so by that logic, why should I die for you? I think these are the controls over here. Let me see what I can do.
Hurry! Please!
Malachite.
Life flickers in his eyes, but he seems totally unaware of his surroundings.
Yeah, he's fine.
The console appears dormant.
Oh, yes, of course. Inscribe the device with the runes from the pod. That's what I was going to say. Took the words right out of my mouth.
The console hums to life.
Glad we found rune for improvement. And that will do.
The pulsing glow and organic lines of the device make it seem more like a beating heart than a machine. Perhaps it will open the nearby pod.
I mean, that would be the ideal.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. The parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
Boy, we better pass this roll. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, okay. I swear, if that had been a 1, I would have thrown such a hissy fit.
You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
Huzzah! Huzzah?
At last. Thought I was done for. I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a Gith with you.
You keep dangerous company.
Oh boy, this is awkward. But hey, did you notice we were just reading each other's thoughts? What's up with that?
I did. It must be because of those parasites they put in us. They'll have to wait. I need to get off this ship alive first. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Fantastic. Sounds like a plan. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. I'm Auric, by the way. Auric Alchem.
Shadowheart. One moment.
So I take it that subtlety was your dump stat? What's up with the giant D20?
It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
Oh, sure, so now you trust the Gith. Okay, I see how it is. But fair enough. I'm not one to pry, and I would like to not die. Ooh, that looks promising.
Let's see what this does.
Faint images appear in your mind. A brain, a Githyanki warrior, and centuries of darkness.
My mind is a terrible thing to waste. I'll take it.
Brain in a jar.
Again, no idea if this stuff is actually ever useful for anything, but we've got space. But what we do not have is lockpicks. So this will come with us until we do. Spectre. I guess we should try the other console. First one worked out okay. Yeah, okay, that's a fair assessment. Lae'zel. Yeah, I don't feel great about that.
You are beautiful.
Thanks. Thanks. You're quite a looker yourself. So we're just like completely insane now, right? That's the premise of this story. Ooh, a key. Nice, nice. We'll keep that reliquary too. That'll look nice on a coffee table.
We are one.
How many hosts of these gay infected?
I don't know, it's only like 3 of us so far. Oh, yes, I see the cause for alarm.
A dazed woman is trapped inside the pod. She doesn't notice you.
Let's maybe not push any buttons this time. Don't mind me, just getting this off your chest. Shadowheart, could you carry all of these things for me real quick? Thank you. And a slave mind. Interesting. I wonder if there's some place where we can, like, plug these things in and talk to them. That would be very, very H.P. Lovecraft. It does specify they're alive. Why would you place a brain inside of a stasis device like that if not to collect its thoughts from time to time? A strange energy buzzes through this alien object. You're sure you've never seen any of the like. Yet part of you recognizes it as a component of some bigger machine.
This might unlock those controls next to the pod.
I mean, that's a pretty big context clue. I guess we should try using it on this device. I hope this gets some terminal results.
As you place your hand on the pod, you hear something. A presence connected to the pod, commanding the person inside to change.
Changed at the pull of a lever. How? If we are not purified, this may be our fate.
We need to get out of here before it's our turn.
Right. Super sorry about that. I should really just stop pushing buttons. Can I change you back?
It's already finished.
Fair enough. Keep the change then.
The newborn mind flayer stares at you, weak and dazed.
Just one of those days. You don't want to wake up. I guess that puts us 1 for 3 then? 1 for 4? I mean, that one was a 2-fer, I guess.
Already dead.
Yep, still dead. Just had to double check. And on we go. We will never speak of this again.
Mind flayer horticulture.
I guess on the bright side, I may have spared them a...
We are nearing the helm. Once inside, do as I say. Who put you in charge?
I'll trust my own judgment.
Kanyank.
Whoa, maybe fire a drink first, Lae'zel. That is wildly inappropriate. That said, we are at time, but you know what? Let's push on a little farther. What's the worst that could happen?
Connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
This thing's falling fast. Got to right it.
Yes, let's do that. That does sound like a simple and straightforward thing to do. Got a little bit of time, but only until this guy drops, so we can't dally too long. We'll knock these guys out, scoop up as much optional loot as we can.
Feel my mistress's wrath.
Nice. Armor up. Should hopefully keep her safe. And that's an extra turn for loot. Fantastic. Though we should probably clear these guys out first. How do we actually reapply our hex? Huh. What am I missing? Oh, you get to re-choose which debuff you want. That is exceptional. That will do. Now let's scoop some loot. Larian takes a lot of liberties with the rule set, so picking things up is not an action. And Lae'zel, get my back. Lovely. Hard to believe this is max difficulty, but I guess this is just the tutorial area. I'm sure it ramps up once we get a bit further in. Boo! I just got shafted.
On the move.
We'll have her flank right. Check those tables and such.
Open up.
Die, please. Thank you.
Swift and lethal. Worth examining.
And we'll just kind of skate around these guys. Don't want to get too close because they will cheerfully kill us if we do. Ooh, bloodstone. Nice. Leave their bodies strewn across the stars. Ooh, Void Bulb. Don't mind if I do. And more stuff over here.
On my way.
Nice. That's another turn we can spend on looting. Though we are ultimately still limited by the time limit on the right.
Oh, no traps,
Once that
please.
thing counts down, game over. But we should be done well before that. Don't mind me, just working on impulse.
Hurry, before they strike.
Yeah, on it. Just, you know, try telling it to those guys.
Time to strike.
So many things. I want those things. Too far. Oh, well, we can just do this. Yeah, that'll slow him down. Nicely done, Lae'zel.
Nearly out of sky. It's now or never.
No, what do you mean I can't reach? Why? Fine, whatever. I do like stuff, but I'm not going to die for it. Yoink. Nice. Truly, we are the blast action hero. A criminally underrated movie.
Make way.
Can't pommel strike after a charge. Fair enough. Oh boy. Okay, yep, we gotta go. That Mind Flayer's one round from dropping, and we do not want to be here when that happens. Get out of here. We're done with you. Your mere existence imperils our own. Bloodstone, nice. And with that, we are done. Farewell, Nautiloid.
Seems simple enough.
The helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
And you know what? I think that's a good place to call it. Got through the whole tutorial. We'll save our re-entry into Faerun for next time. I will say, it's a bit surreal replaying this intro because it is significantly different than it was back in early access. They cut out a big chunk right from the middle. You used to go up on the deck and see the Illithid artillery trying to fight off the Gith dragon riders, which was pretty epic, but also really padded out. What was supposed to be, you know, a quick action-packed introduction sequence. That's it. We'll hit the pause button for now, but we will absolutely pick up here next time. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments down below, and I will see you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, ErieV23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Rowan Church, Tomasz, Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment.